Hey everybody, this is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer, and welcome to a new video. You probably have heard this old phrase, I think it goes, nature abhors a vacuum. I have a new one. A work table or a game table abhors an empty surface. I don't know, something along those lines. This is my work table, all right? Not my gaming table, although sometimes it does serve it as my gaming table. As you can see, it's quite full of junk and drinks and tape and 3D printing things I'm working on, and and I've even got storage underneath. This is not conducive to getting stuff done. I want to get control of my work table. So I looked around for some solutions, and obviously there's a lot of different solutions for this. I could take the bottom area down there and grid it and section it into cubbies and things like that. But I like having a large area so you can store big items and pull them out. But the sides are what I was looking at here. The sides, there's 4 sides, obviously, and they are, all open. And so it occurred to me that I could probably hijack one of the sides and turn it into a pegboard. So what I'm gonna do today, I have this 2x4 piece of wood. I spray painted it black. I didn't have the roller to do it, and it's not the greatest looking thing, but the surface doesn't really matter. I just wanted it black to match the trim. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to mount that to the sides of the table, and then I have some 3D printed files that I backed, and I'll share this with you later in the video, that I'm gonna use to create a system of hangers and shelves on this, so that I can get things like tapes and paint and glue and odds and ends moved over to the side and off the table. And then if I find that it's just not enough, I'll do one on the other side. So this is not necessarily a crafting video, but it is a making type video. So I hope you'll enjoy watching as I try to come up with a way to get control of my work table. So it never fails that I tend to want to do these things when there's nobody around to help me. My wife and kids are out of town right now, which is another reason I get a lot of stuff done, but I need to get this done, but I'm the only one here. So what I'm doing is I've used some boxes to hold the 2x4 foot plate or piece of wood in place. I've used some tape to hold it against the wall, so that I can use some screws to get it put in there. So just so you know, I'm going to attach, this is all wood. My work table's made out of wood. I'm going to be using these 1 1/4 inch wood screws to hold it in place. I'm probably just going to use 3 of them because I don't want to have a whole lot of these that might interfere with the pegboard system. So there you go. Let's see if I can get my camera set up so that you can watch me do this. It's always good to drill a pilot hole before you get going. You don't want to splinter the wood. So I'm just trying to even it up here. Right there. There we go. All right. So I'm going to put this into this 2x4. So I just want to get a pilot hole going. And then, of course, I forgot my drill bit. All right, put in a Phillips head driver here. Now, I do have an impact driver, but I really don't need it for this. This is soft wood. So I'm just gonna we go. All right, one done. through. I'm gonna do that, but there we go. All right, and then the last one I'm just gonna put roughly in the middle here. All right, now the one thing you'll notice, it's only connected at the top. I'm also gonna have to find where I can do it to the bottom down here. There's not a lot of room, so it may have to require a smaller screw, but you don't wanna just connect it at the top, you also wanna do it at the bottom.
Check out the new RPG and Wargame newsletter. Each week, the tabletop engineer shares news, products, Kickstarters, and much more related to the gaming hobby. It's free to subscribe, so check out the link in the video description below to sign up.
So it took about 3 straight days of printing around the clock, but I finally got the 3 foot by 6, it's 2 foot by 4 foot, sorry. This is called the Multiboard, and it's all 3D printed, and these are the pieces that lock the squares together. So there's a square here, you can't really see the seam, maybe you can there, but you use these quads to connect 4, and you use the duals to connect 2, and then in the 4 corners you just have the single one. Now in these, there are things that can be inserted in them to like pegs and things, but all these holes, every one of them, there are additions that can be screwed in or pushed into these holes for stronger hold. And it, you know, somebody asked me, they're like, well, pegboard. Well, pegboard has limits. Pegboard has metal hooks that's typical use for it. But with this, and being open source, a lot of people can create custom objects to mount to it. And I've already found a whole bunch related to the gaming hobby. Like there's a lot of paint holders, there's brush holders, all kinds of stuff related to gaming. And again, it's customizable, and I can break it down into parts and reassemble it in a different, like if I wanted to go bigger or not as tall, I could remove the bottom row. With pegboard, you're limited to basically a 2x4 or whatever size you want to get it into, or you have to cut it. But once you cut it, it's cut. You can't put it back together. This is modular. You can add, take away from it. One day I may decide that I want to put this up on the wall, but make it much bigger, like maybe double in size. And I can do that very, very easily. Now, there are a whole bunch of these mounting systems, 3D printed mounting systems on the internet. You can find a whole bunch of them. And this is the one that just, I did my research, I looked, I watched the videos, I listened to comments from people, and this is the one I decided to go with just because I think that it has a real future. I could be wrong, but right now the community for it is huge. You can download it for free. This is most of the parts, these pieces and the connectors are all free. It's almost like a Patreon. If you pay like, I don't know, $3 a month or something, you can get access to the custom things like boxes and stuff. So over time, I plan on updating this, and every now and then I'll do maybe an updated video and show you how I've outfit it with things. But right now, I just need it mounted here so that I can hang things like my tape, brushes, probably my paints, just to get things off of the work table here so that I have more room. So moving it to the side is going to be a huge, huge benefit. All right, so what's next? Up next is I need to drill some holes, and there are holes in these. You can connect it without, you could connect it just on the corners, but I'm probably gonna do some extra screws just to make it more secure. I'm not gonna be putting a lot of weight on this, so I'm not worried about like load-bearing weight or anything like that. It's not gonna be carrying a lot of weight, so I don't have to go crazy with the screws. So there'll be one in each corner, and then probably maybe these quads, I'll put one in each one, and that will be that. So up next, I'll show you, once I get this mounted, I'll give you an update. And there you go, mounted on the plywood. I don't have any hangers yet. That's coming next. I printed a test one right here just to see for my tape measure. This is a push fit, so it just goes in 2 of the holes here. And I mean, it's not gonna hold 80 pounds, but hey, it will hold. So up next is just printing a bunch of accessories for it. Boxes, hangers for all kinds of odds and ends. These big ones right here are designed to hold a lot of weight. There's a special peg you can print that goes in there, and it really holds heavy weight versus these lighter ones. And then there's a whole box system that I'm looking to get into, and I think it's just going to be fun to play with. But you know, the purpose of this was to get me back my tabletop here. So some of this stuff is just junk. I got to get it off. But by having some hangers and things, boxes to put stuff in, hopefully I can keep my work table clean for game playing and crafting. All right, that's all I got. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me on this. I'll call this a show and tell. If you're interested in this, I will put links for the multi-board system in the video description. And again, I printed this pretty quick. The whole thing, including all the brackets, the gray ones that hold it together. I spent a total of maybe 3 days printing. You know, breaks here and there, but I kept it running pretty good. You can print these one at a time, or they actually come in stacks where they'll print on top of each other. We've been having really bad power outages here with the storms in Atlanta, so I wasn't willing to take a risk. So I printed them out individually, and they turned out just fine. If you have any questions, please post them, and I'll do my best to answer them. But I'm very happy with how it turned out. All right, just in 2 days, I've already added some stuff. I added some cups to hold pins and pliers and things, some tapes, a game device that I'm working on right now. And as you can see, there's lots of room left. But more importantly, my tabletop it's not 100% clear, but I'm actually able to work on it. I'm painting right now some 3D printed stuff. But again, the whole point of this was to get stuff off of the work table and get it onto the side so I could easily find what I need. Now I can find my pins, my blades, my wood glue, my tapes, and that kind of stuff. And probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one of these over here to my gaming table. This is where I record some of the games I play. You can see that big space there. Well, there's one on the other side as well. I could fit a 4x4 or, well, I guess maybe a 3x3. Let's see, they're 8. 3x3 grid, so that'd be 2 feet by 2 feet on each one of those, and that's going to give me much more storage room. Not storage so much, but just hanging space where I can find things I need. They're visible, and that's the real goal here. So I hope if you have a 3D printer and you have some space in your workshop or playroom area, that maybe you want to do something like this. I'll put links to this in the video. One of the things I'm thinking about looking up, and if it's not available, I'm gonna make it, is I would like to have this grid over there, and I wanna make a display case that like snaps into it so that I can store miniatures there that I use to play in my games. It's just an idea. I've got 2 sides, plenty to play with. But I'm looking to see if anybody has created any multi-board snap-ons that are like little display boxes, like little squares or whatever. Or maybe a whole row of them. I don't know. Plenty of time to figure this out. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Jim, the Tabletop Engineer. Thanks for joining me as I built out my multi-board display here. Everybody, take care.